Are we working? Is it working? It's working. All right, I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
We're back.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Coffee before bed.
It is, yes. Been a little bit. It's my fault. I wasn't here Wednesday. Just got behind on work and had to do that.
It was
And
all right, man. I had to work too that night. So,
sucks.
yeah. So, yeah, but it's been a week. What's new?
No, no Will tonight.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no Will.
That's right. He is
Is he on child duty?
on child duty. I believe he was saying that this was an extra night. He's doing something because his ex-wife is having a procedure of some kind.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe he's having that overdue.
My wife's
check
out of
that
town
she's
right
had
now.
for a while. Where's she?
She and my daughter at Five Finger Death Punch right now.
Out of town?
Yeah.
What? She's in.
I think it's
Red
Denver.
Rocks or
Yeah, I don't think it's Red Rocks. It might be Fiddlers. I don't know.
not a great night to be at Fiddler's. But...
Why is that? Oh yeah, it's a little chilly. So
Yeah, I know we're cool with this, but
yeah,
given that there's like, I don't know, 2 total pounds of fat between both your wife and daughter combined.
oh no, my wife's been going to the gym again. She's all muscled. She's all muscly now.
Yeah, she has a little bit more time too, huh?
Yeah, yeah. She's
Taking a
taking
few more
5 days a
sessions.
week.
Yeah. There you
go. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so my wife is indisposed tonight as well. So.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So William has the children.
Yes, and the children need their father.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're in good hands.
Yeah.
That always makes me happy to hear.
Good.
He's a killer dad.
He is a good dad.
Yeah.
He's a much better dad than I am. I'm a bad dad. So
No, I think he's a much better dad than most. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
put that out there where let me put it this way. All right, so there are just some things in the universe that you accept as constant, right?
mhm.
North is on the top of the map,
Right, yeah.
right?
Yeah. Canada is up.
Yeah, exactly. And when you drop animals for science, they fall to the ground, right? So there are some folks where, and it's perfectly okay, where dad is just a state of being,
Right.
right? But then there are some people where dad isn't just a state of being, it is like a privilege.
Oh,
And
okay.
he falls into that rare category.
Yeah, no, that's not me. So it is-
Again, I don't think it's most dads. And
Yeah.
that's totally fine, right?
You know what's really funny is how surprisingly you actually behave towards your own kids the way that your dad behaved towards you. And so my dad was very hands off. He was very, I mean, until I was like in my teens. I didn't really start to respect my dad until I had to work with him. So,
Right?
yeah. You know? And so, yeah. And so my daughter, she's in that surly age now. So, you know, early middle school, where it's like she's starting to break away from her mother a little bit. So,
Wow. Okay.
well, I've read this before, so and I've actually got I've got a couple like how to parent books. So, you know, that
Okay.
yeah, no, they were passed down to me. So, or in one case my wife picked it up because well, that's when she was going through cancer, so there was a lot of stuff going on. With my
okay.
daughter, just
Yeah.
emotionally, right?
Yeah.
But then there's other stuff that I've read that's like more nerdy policy stuff, like the crap that I read, you know, for work, kind of thing. And like,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so well, yeah, especially you know, like when I was at the other school up here,
Sure.
that like the most critical time to have your dad around is when you're in your teens. The most critical time to have your mother around is when you were young. So
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
that tracks.
yeah, and so I don't know. I'm sure my daughter will be. I mean, I've taken to mercilessly picking on her lately because she is complete. She takes it so seriously that it's
Takes
just
what so serious?
oh everything, man. Everything's fucking serious right now. So you know,
Your daughter.
Oh yeah,
Your dog.
fuck yeah, dude. It is. She is at that age right now where everything is fucking big fucking deal all the time.
Growing up in your home.
Yes. She's still a little girl, Jeff. This is what they do.
I would know.
Yeah.
Take your word for it.
So yeah, no. I watched I watched at least one of her cousins go through it, and then I actually watched my wife's sisters go through it a little bit, although they were kind of past that by the time I met them. But yeah, so she's at that point in time right now. So I just mercilessly just pick on her a little bit. You know, like that good 7th grade ribbon that you need to give out. So,
I don't know. Okay, so you know
well, you
obviously.
used to teach it. So
Well, no, I'm just saying that obviously I'm going to take your side.
oh, okay.
Okay, you know that. And when it comes to mocking the children for fun and sport, I'm always going to be on your side.
Okay.
But what I don't know if there's a new perspective on that says kids take this more seriously than you think.
Yeah, I think they do. See, the thing is that like when I was growing up, my parents never did anything like that, so I was left to take myself extremely seriously. Okay. It took a few years for me to actually kind of like deflate that ego a little bit. So
This was your own ego?
this was my own ego, absolutely.
So you're saying that the taking things super seriously is egocentrism on the child's part?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So it's lack of like, you know, experience with actual traumatic life events. So
Yeah. Well, okay.
dude, my daughter can't even ride a bike.
Yeah.
She can't even, she's 11 years old, she can't even fucking ride a bike because she's too scared to try it. So
Well, I was late to that party too.
that's okay. And I keep telling her that that's okay. All right, but at the same point in time, you're not allowed to grow up unless you do the things, you know?
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. All right. Now I don't. Okay, so I also have. This is just a side issue. Is I think we teach kids how to ride bicycles completely incorrectly.
You know how they do it now?
Huh.
They have those ones that have no pedals on them. And so you ride it around like a fucking scooter. So it's brilliant, dude. It takes you like fucking a day to learn how to do it now. So because you just use your feet and paddle like a duck. And then when you're ready, you chunk on the fucking pedals, okay? And you raise the seat up. So there you go.
All right.
It's fucking brilliant, man. I see the kids in the neighborhood with them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I can understand that. I guess the biggest problem that I have is that riding a bike is actually counterintuitive to pretty much every other sort of learning process out there,
Yeah.
right? And the only reason I say that is because the way that you do things in every other capacity is you start slowly,
Right.
right, and work your way up to it. But the science is absolutely right on this. The faster you're going,
Yeah.
the easier it is to maintain your balance,
yeah.
right? It's actually harder to keep your balance when you're
Yeah.
only going, a little bit at a time.
yeah.
So people naturally jump into this. That was my problem, right? Is why can't I master this slow part? Why do I keep falling over when I'm just going slow?
Yeah.
Right? And there is just this version of this where we need to like get through with folks like, no, man, this only works when you start going fast.
Yeah.
The hard part is when you're trying to go slow. Like if you've
Yeah.
seen so if you've seen those road bicyclers, right? They've been doing this for years.
Oh, yeah.
And you've seen the guys who can keep it balanced at a stoplight, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you can see every little muscle twitching in
Right.
the body.
Yeah, it's a little
Right.
firing,
Yeah, you can see
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that dude is getting the best workout in human history right now.
Yeah.
It's like riding a fucking unicycle, right? Those guys have it down to a.
I gotta be honest, man. I like Yeah, since the unnamed virus of unknown origin.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, thing.
I hear it came from the Far East somewhere.
Right, yeah, it came from overseas.
Right.
You know? I hear it's exotic. You know? So, but like even before then, I remember, commuting to work. And there were a lot of bicyclists out there. I have not seen as many the last like year. So
I have no expertise on which to speak.
yeah, but I mean, I drive the same way.
Yeah,
I used
yeah.
to see them all the time. So especially over there on Garden of the Gods. So
Oh.
yeah, well, Austin Bluffs up by the school.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
I do not see as many of them as I used to. So
I thought you were talking the actual Garden of the Gods. I'm like, I'll bet you they're still there.
oh, I guarantee they're still there. So I've been there in ages, man. So
Nor have I, but
you don't really go do touristy things in your own backyard.
well, I've been
Yeah.
there a ton of times. I mean, I
I've
used
been
to
there in a long time.
dog and all that other
Oh,
stuff. Too.
okay.
You know, so I'd take her, over to places like that in the park, Palmer Park and stuff like that. But yeah, I used to go down there quite a bit,
Okay.
just for.
I've been there in a long time, man. So I haven't been to Palmer Park in a long time either.
Are you gonna walk a cat? You gonna ride a
No,
mountain
man.
bike?
No, I'm not gonna ride a mountain bike.
You and your wife go hiking?
No.
Okay, I'm out of reasons why you would go.
Yeah, no. So not gay. So
Yeah, but that's only that one spot.
that's at only that one spot with the little pull out.
That
Yeah.
belongs to them.
Right. I wonder if that's still a thing. I remember it
Not
was
gonna
like
find out.
30 years ago.
No, I'm
man.
not gonna
Yeah.
find out. It's
Yeah.
for and it's not that I actually have a problem with that. As a matter of fact, I sort of respect when certain things have a designated spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, everybody knew about it.
Yeah, the wonderful thing is I don't know how everybody knew about it.
Mm.
Like how you figured out. Like I remember I feel like I've always known, but it's not like there's like some kind of like local force that you tap into when you come to Colorado Springs.
Right,
And you say
yeah,
like,
exactly.
hey, if you're of this persuasion
Right.
and you want this,
All right.
right?
This is where you go.
A little
Underneath
bit off
the power
beaten
lines.
path. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think I'll be going there. So, I'm so domesticated now, man. So,
Yeah, you're not really saying that with regret, though.
I love
Sounds
it,
like-
man.
Yeah,
I love
Yeah.
it. So, yeah, I mean, like the one thing that I've really enjoyed over like the last 2 months is cooking.
You have
I
taken
cook
back into
all
that.
kinds
Yeah.
of fucking shit now, man. Dude, I
Yeah.
made like some of the best fried rice I've ever made last night. And it was just one ingredient. It was this Chinese cooking wine. You just use a little bit of it. Fucking tastes amazing. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, I know, man. So I learned that on YouTube, and I was like, oh, well, let me just Instacart, put that on my Amazon wish list here, and then next time I pull the trigger on it, it shows up, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember I got that stuff. Let's go try it.
What's unusual, Pat, well, actually, I don't know if it's unusual. It is what it is, right? Is stuff like this is your version of thrill seeking,
It is, yeah.
right? And the only question is whether or not you see that as problematic.
No, I don't see any of it as problematic.
There you go.
Yeah. No, in fact, my dad was kind of late to the cooking party as well, so I'm kind of following his footsteps here in some respects.
Well, you got into it when you were younger too, but
I think I did. Yeah.
but I also know that there were,
I got into baking. That was a little bit different. So
some people say they're not. I say they are.
they are different. I agree. Yeah. No, they are different. So I have been doing more baking lately too. So, my daughter, I made a whole batch of cookies for my daughter the other night to take to school.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Well, yeah, of course it's cool, man. It was like, yeah, well, your old man can do something around here for you. Here, take his world famous cookies in the school. And then so she comes home the next day without the tin. And I was like, I don't care. I've got like 10 of them. So it's like, whatever. All right. And she's like, oh no, I forgot the tin. And I was like, oh, did they eat all the cookies? And she was like, yes. And I was like, that was rather hesitant. So it's like, no, they definitely ate all of them. And I was like, okay. So did they like them? And she said, I don't know. I didn't ask them. And I was like, excuse me? Why would you not be curious about that? Kind of thing. So you bring in something into a potluck, and you see people picking at it, the first thing you do is you go find them and say, hey, well, how was that? You know?
Maybe you do.
Oh, you don't do that?
Oh no.
Oh Lord, no, man.
No.
I'm a pain in the ass about that.
No. Absolutely not. The only, what'll answer that question is if you go to the tray later on and it's empty or not.
Yeah, that depends on the potluck, though, man. I've been to some monster ones where there is so much fucking food there, so that it's just like, okay, what got put closest to the plates?
Doesn't matter. I'm just saying if
Yeah.
it was good enough, right?
Yeah.
Then people would say, go get some of that, or people are like, I'm gonna go get some more of that.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I've been to some big ones where that it didn't matter. So, or like, sometimes, yeah, you see things that don't get touched and it's because they look horrifying, but they actually taste really good. So
I'm not going to dispute that. As a matter of fact, being somebody that I don't make it because I want the mystery to still be there, right? But I'm a person that stands up for casserole on end, and a lot of people think that is the most unappetizing looking thing on the planet.
Oh, I love casserole.
Yeah, I get you do, but a lot of people think that it looks terrible. It just looks like, what is this? It's like, so I went in the kitchen. It's like, yeah, it's like, so I just grabbed a whole bunch of shit, right?
Yeah,
Cooked it in a weird sauce.
deep.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, this looks bad. I don't want to touch it. A lot of kids are adverse to casserole. I think
They are. Yeah. So my daughter's definitely adverse to casserole to the point in time where I don't really make it anymore. And I used to have a couple really good ones that I make that were like, really like straight from the heartland, Minnesota with tater tots kind of casserole.
Definitely. Yeah. But that's the thing is like, I can definitely look past the appearance of something and say like, well, actually, no, this thing has everything I like in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. In fact, I mean, that's the stupidity of children and casseroles, is you can point at it and say, you like every single one of these things in here individually.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, again, I've been through this before. It doesn't mean that you say like, well, if you like all these things, it's like, yes, that's why I crusted it with Skittles, right? No, I'm not fucking dumb. I get that. But when you talk about complementary tastes,
I'm gonna render
like,
my
yes.
Skittles. I'm gonna cut them in with butter.
Exactly. Reduce that shit.
Reduce that shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get that, but yeah, generally speaking, I find that like most of the time and maybe it's because I'm not going to these 100-person potlucks, but
I haven't been to a big one in a long time, so
I haven't been to a big one. The last big one I went to was with somebody's church.
Was it?
Yeah, and that's because that's just what they do.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. No, I haven't been to a big one. Yeah, so like before the unnamed virus of unknown origin, we used to have like an annual big one during our first football game of the year. It was like a tailgate. So
for school or what?
Yeah, for the college. So
okay. I was like, there's only 3 of you in that house, and
no,
only
not my family. So I don't do anything with them.
Fuck those guys.
Yes.
Those lazy asses doing that one thing.
Yeah. But they they would have a big one every single year. And that one would have, dozens and dozens of dishes and hundreds of people.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense.
I haven't been to one of those in 4 years. So, and then like every now and then they try and whip something together, but it's always just the same 5 fucking people. And so I don't participate in those. I've never been a big on potlucks. So,
frankly, Patrick, I've never really been big on fraternizing in the office.
No.
I don't mean that in a negative way, and I know some people do, but you know, I guess somewhere along the line, my brother and I decided to get the matching tattoos that say "Work ends here."
Yeah.
My life begins here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if it is 5:01, shut the fuck up because I'm going out the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've always been kind of punch clocky that way too, man. So I leave work and I don't look back, you know, or anything like that. Now I do have people that I work with and I'm friends with, so
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And that also means that like occasionally, like, yeah, it's let me take this phone call, let me call this person, let me just send this person the occasional text and say like, dude, how have things been going?
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that's different. But the whole like, it's 5:30, guys.
Oh, you know, we don't hang around the water cooler and bullshit, man. So I'm gone. So yeah, I've always been that way. So I guess like the exceptions for that, all right, were like, because I did this a lot when I was like working on Christmas. Okay, if you're working on Christmas Day or if it's Thanksgiving Day and you're on a shift where most other people are going to be on your family, but you've got a few guys there, it was like, guys, I'm gonna stop at KFC on the way. All right?
Yeah. No, I can understand that. Yeah, and Lord knows, you know, how many holidays I worked. As a matter of fact, shit, that was my thing. Was at Baker, I made it a habit. I was like, look, you guys all have the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Tell you what, I'll take the Christmas and Thanksgiving holidays.
Oh yeah.
Right. And why don't you guys go spend those on the, you know, with the kids? And why don't you give me like the, you know, the other ones, the ones that are, you know, just days off.
Yeah, you don't care. Yeah. No, I did that a lot too. I mean, I don't know. Some of the places I worked with are unionized, and so everybody was like, "Oh fuck, I'm not giving up Christmas. It's double time and a half," you know, kind of thing.
Oh well, fighting for holidays is a little bit different.
Got
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So,
okay, yeah, I got you there.
But I have worked at other places where it was like, "Fuck, man,
guys want the day." Yeah.
Take the day. I got it. I got you covered. So, but that's okay.
No, totally, yeah, and like I also completely understand the other side of it, where if you want to work the holiday and you have kids, sometimes it's like, I read you loud and clear, man.
Yeah, no. So it's like, oh, you're working on your anniversary, huh?
I'm never gonna fight you on that one.
I'm not gonna fight you on that one.
Well, especially not necessarily anniversaries, but like stupid shit like Valentine's Day, where it's like,
Valentine's Day is not stupid shit unless it's just completely irrelevant. I have seen people get absolutely pretzel bettered over that one in particular. So,
well, what I'm saying is, all right, so you can do Valentine's Day, but do it the 13th or the 15th. If you're going to go on the 14th, and you're going to go to some place which is going to be packed, right?
See, I've seen this. This is a problem when Valentine's Day falls on the weekend. So, or on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So, no, I've definitely seen that one. Valentine's Day is one. So, Super Bowl Sunday has always been one. People fucking fight over. So when I lived in Nebraska, it was Saturday during college football season.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Fucking,
you know, watch the Huskers.
Everybody wanted to go watch Big Red, yeah. So
shit, I'm sure half of those guys were gonna try to get out to Lincoln.
Probably. So I know that it turned into the city with the highest population in the state every Saturday.
You know what, bro? You've been to the state.
I have.
That is no mystery to me.
No. I hear Alabama's the same way. So. But I don't know. They at least have 2 football teams. So...
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. In Nebraska, there is one religion. It's stamped out all the others, man. So, although if you're way where I was, man, you could find some Cowboys fans. So, yeah,
I can believe that.
You could find a few.
Yeah, this is sort of the. This is sort of the. Pittsburgh part of Ohio thing.
Some part that got taken over, annexed.
Yeah. The fucking phony baloney elections.
Right, yeah, exactly. Knock on your door. So you're a fucking towel waiver now, aren't you?
Right. Well, because it was.
Towel waiver. So damn right you are. Sign here. You know.
That's right. Is that what we call them? Like ethnic Ohioans or something like that?
Ethnic Ohioans. Yeah.
Or were they ethnic Pittsburgh?
I don't know. No. I think it was Steelers annex East Ohio.
Yeah. Which part of Ohio is Crimea?
Crimea? I don't know. So does it have a little dangly bit that goes up into Lake Erie here?
Shit, if it does, then I'm fairly certain that's the thing that Ohio and Michigan fought over a long time
Right,
ago.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I watched last night's game, so it was okay. It wasn't great.
What was it?
It was the Bears. So
yeah, that's right.
Team formerly known as Washington Football Team.
Yeah,
So,
I saw the line. I'm like, this has got nothing to do with me.
no, it's got nothing, man.
Well, fuck that. I was watching hockey anyway.
Oh, was hockey back on already?
First two games have happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit! I think the Yankees were supposed to play last night.
They played last night.
No, they didn't. They got rained out. So I think they might have had a doubleheader today. I don't know. I didn't look.
I thought last night what is that team called now? It's the Guardians. Yeah,
the Guardians.
Because they tied it up.
Last night?
I think
It
so,
might have
yeah.
started up after a while. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, because last when I checked, the series was tied up 1-1.
Oh, so when I saw it, it was on rain delay. So and it looked like they were going to call it, and then they turned on the football game. So I didn't know
Okay.
they played.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I'm not really talking about postseason baseball anyway. So
Do you want to?
no, man, no. I've been cool about like everything, even Judge's run towards like Maris's the record this year, and it was just like, all right, just don't talk about it, man. It's cool. And it seems to be working. So
What is this bullshit? When did you subscribe to fucking mystical thinking? When did
I don't know, man.
What are you doing?
it's just been working this year. I don't get it. So so I've been
This
very
isn't
chill
you,
about
man.
baseball this year, man. Like last year, I was up to speed on everything in every series and every game, and this year it's just been kind of a little bit more chill. It's like, let me go check the MLB app. Oh, it looks pretty good. Yeah, okay. So can we turn the game on for a little bit? Oh no, it's okay. You don't have to change channel for me. Kind of thing. So
now this little Bruce Lee be like water shit when it comes
be like
to
water.
when it comes to fucking fan.
I know. I don't buy into it, man.
Yes, you do, because you're doing it. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't,
I do a lot of things that I shouldn't do. And
I know what you're doing. You're watching the game on the little TV. I've talked about this, right? Yeah. That was the TV, that little TV that the Patriots won on. All right, but eventually I had to get over it.
Right.
Unless, Patrick.
Unless it worked.
Well, it's not a question if it works. It's a question if you have fun.
Oh, yeah, no, I have been having fun with it this year. So, I don't know. I've been having more fun bitching about football than rooting for baseball.
Just haven't watched that much.
You're
into it.
The last 2 weeks, so last weekend I watched almost all the games. I caught Thursday night, both nights, last 2 weeks, including the horrible game that the Broncos played that Will and I were bitching about.
There's a lot of YouTube videos that say this is the worst game I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was terrible, man.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, man.
It was embarrassingly bad football. So, but like
I was sleeping, and you guys' text messages did not convince me to wake up.
no, I'm glad, man. So, yeah. But even over the weekend, so there was a lot of football on. So I don't know, man. It's just like it's a weird year, man. So, Aaron Rodgers doesn't look good. He looks old. Brady's looking old. So, none of the new guys look good. So, there's just not really that much going on out there. And I'm kind of enjoying watching all types of different fandoms tear themselves to pieces.
Yeah.
You know, on this stuff. So, I mean, I watched people going from, like, what is it? We're in week 5 now? Or 6? Something like that? I don't know.
Jesus, okay.
Yeah, we're getting there.
It was like it started last weekend.
No. It's no. Oh.
No, it's almost.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
it's about
yeah,
halfway.
yeah. It's about halfway.
Yeah.
And so, just listening to the radio. So, like KRDL, they get this slow mouth sports guy on in the afternoon. He's great. So, but he takes these horrible pregnant pauses in his presentation. It's excruciating. So, but the guy knows his football, man. And yeah. And so he called in like week 2. He's like, Russell Wilson ain't gonna be the thing this year. And people calling in, blah, 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 blah. Give him a chance. You know, the guy is as black as they get. So,
okay.
I mean, you can tell just by the way he talks, man. So, let alone the fact that he does show up on the news from time to time, and so this has been confirmed.
He's confirmed.
Visual confirmation, yeah. So,
okay. All right. Now you have my attention. All right.
yeah. So, but anyway, it's one of those things where it was like, all right, you know, and then within another week, everybody was on his bandwagon now. So it's like, oh, fucking, oh man, I can't believe we spent that much money. Blah, 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 blah. You know, so
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, so there is no version of this where I would have said that pursuing Russell Wilson was a bad move, right? Where I would sit there and say, like, you can turn around and say, I'm not thrilled with his results.
Sure.
But there's no version of this where I'd blame somebody for saying, there's a chance we can get him. We should get him.
Yeah, we should try and get him. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, especially since they're hands down the filthiest rich team in the entire NFL now. So,
are they really?
They're owned by the Waltons, man. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. But, well, I mean, they still have caps. I mean, that's
they do have caps. Yeah, that's
football.
True.
But I mean, yeah, you can't. Football would suck if you could Yankee and Red Sox and Dodger on that league. Do you have any idea how miserable that would be?
See, that's the other thing I have been talking about baseball is there's this fucking monster out there on the West Coast that is going to eat everybody's lunch eventually. So...
They don't deserve it, man.
They're honestly, they're busy like chewing through somebody as we speak.
Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, but you know you're right. The NFL would fucking suck. Well, it would suck more. Let me put it that way.
Well, no, okay, lay it out for me. Who would be the Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers of the NFL?
I think Jerry Jones would go completely nuclear.
I agree.
Yeah. So the Cowboys would be it would be like it was in the 90s where if the Cowboys were coming to play your team, you'd try and get tickets.
You'd buy tickets. Yeah. We call that Rocky syndrome.
Yeah. So the Cubs are in town.
Yeah. So that's the thing is that white devil Jerry Jones would be he'd be running things in the South. You would have one Florida team would be up there, right? I can't tell you which one.
I can't. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. So Florida seems like Florida's just got too much peanut butter and not enough bread.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
one of them would be, well, because like seriously, it would be like again, go over to the fucking New York teams that play in New Jersey. The Giants or the Jets would be hot shit, but they would never both be great teams.
Like, so New York's never had any love for its football team, so man.
No, that's not true. They love the Giants.
Yeah.
They love it, man. They fucking love the Giants.
There are parts of New York that love the Giants.
No, well, I'm telling you, man, like there's a reason that the fucking that the NFC East is on every Sunday night, every Monday night, right?
I don't know. I can see, like, New York actually succumbing to Boston on that one. So, just in terms of who would actually be the biggest on the Eastern Seacoast. So I can see the Patriots actually exploding too.
It would be a fight, don't get me wrong, but you know that New York would outspend them.
I don't know about that. It depends on who owns them. I mean, you know that the guy who owns the fucking Patriots would put down cash. So
Oh, Bob Kraft?
Bob Kraft, yeah. When he's not too busy getting his fucking Super Bowl ring stolen.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into what that guy's into. It's getting rings stolen, getting tandies in Asian massage parlors, and
Right, and like little strip malls, man. I forgot about that.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it's the one. It's just like behind Cumberland Farms. It's the one everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's just you don't go there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So there's between the CVS. Yeah. So the New York team. There's no fucking way. Like, all right. Let me put it to you this way. Is there love for the Giants? Yes.
Yeah.
It will never be the same kind of love they had when they all rallied behind the Tuna, Lawrence Taylor, Carl Banks, and that crowd.
No.
Right? Giants mania was for sure at that point.
Yeah, but
that doesn't mean they still don't hang in there.
you're still splitting your fan base in a place like that. I think the place where you'd find teams that would blow up would be like Dallas. Okay, it's because you got the guy and you're the only like show for the next 800 miles, kind of thing.
Well, does that mean that Houston wouldn't exist as a team?
No, I'm sure it would be fine. Okay, so but Texas is big enough, and you know that Houston and Dallas are two different pieces of Texas. Yeah, they really are.
And so was San Antonio.
Yeah, but the New York Jets, the New York Giants is a little bit close. I think you'd see a team like Chicago blow up.
Absolutely, yeah, just like the Cubs.
Yeah.
So, now the question would be, which West Coast team is a powerhouse?
Oh man, the West Coast. My guess would probably be Seattle. So just because you have the most loyal fan base there, and you actually do have quite a few people in the same spot. And I mean, like, so when San Francisco moved,
What, the nine out of Candlestick?
yeah, when they
yeah.
when they moved way south, their fans like. I mean, I seen posts on this, when it was happening at the time. They were like, "Well, fuck them." It's like you moved it an hour south. That's a 4-hour fucking drive. Traffic around
San
here.
Francisco, shit, you might as well get on a plane.
Right, exactly. So so you guys could have at least put a BART station near it. Something.
Yeah, you can fly between LA and San Francisco
A lot.
daily. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, the one that's really disgusting. If you see it, is L.A. and Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. Yeah. Well, okay. Now, I read this thing. Okay, so, that there has supposed to be, right? They have been working on a quote unquote train line from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
That's not possible.
Well, they've been working on this for 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
40 years.
Yeah.
Right? They've also been talking about using this to kind of link up the cities as well.
Yeah.
Right? They brought in a French train company.
Okay.
Right? Where they said, look, we need a fresh perspective on this. And these guys are like world renowned. They're awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Now, these guys come in and they check this out. They look over the options. They're working there for like a few months.
Mm-hmm.
Back out of the project.
Yeah.
I say, why? So, well, we're actually going to do a different project in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They said, why? I said, because this situation that you're in is the worst
Mm-hmm.
governmental organization
Yeah.
to get anything done
Yeah.
on the planet, and we'd rather work
Yeah.
in Africa.
Yeah.
That's rough.
It is, but I also understand why.
Of course I understand why.
So,
but if you want to do it, you have to find a way to make things happen.
it's not possible. It's not possible. So the way that the Constitution is
Then
set
you give
up,
it up. You give it up then.
Yeah, exactly. You fucking
Right.
give it up. You know, you stop like jerking people's chain on this. Say, oh, we're gonna build a train. You know, here it's
They
like
invested millions into this.
I know, man. Well, that's because they get millions of dollars, you know, from various different interest groups that want to
Yeah.
actually try and do something along this line. And so then they go and they spend all that money on fucking consultants who I can do that money. I can whip up a 5-minute PowerPoint. Give me the fucking, $1 million. All right. And tell you exactly why you'll never be able to do this. And so, I mean, I watched people in Pueblo fucking do that. Say, oh, we want to get the super chief out here. I was like, it's not going to fucking happen.
What's the super chief?
It's a scam track train. So that
Oh.
that runs from Kansas City to it goes from Chicago to KC to Albuquerque and then out to LA. So
Oh, okay.
and so it makes a little stop in La Junta down there. And so they wanted to try and get that to come out to Pueblo. So, and I'm going to tell you exactly why they never do that. So it's because it's directional traffic. So there's a train track that runs from Pueblo to La Junta, and BNSF pushes all their trains east on that one. And they want to push one train going the other way. So, on a schedule too, yay. And so I remember when they told me about that like 4 years ago. I knew what a guy who was actually on the board down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, you used to work for L." It's like, "Yeah, I did." So he's like, "Well, we're doing blah blah blah," and I was like, "That's cute." It's like, let me tell you what the BNSF guy said. Oh, we're gonna have to look into that. We might actually be able to accommodate that, right? And it's like, well, yeah, they're really friendly. I was like, they're fucking faithless actors. It's like, here's what you do. You go asking for something real simple. All right, real simple. All right. So, like, how many hours? Just ask them how many hours that this 300 section mile of track was down for maintenance over the last year. They won't fucking tell you. So they can pull that up on their phone, and they're not going to tell you.
The hat pulled down. They're turning the phone the other way.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Oh, my reception is good. Yeah. And so something like Los Angeles is crazy. Can you imagine trying to actually get land? So it's impossible.
Dude, okay, so land, and then, of course, the other considerations that you have to take in terms of, like, California oversight when it comes to, like, well, guys, earthquakes happened here.
Oh, yeah. No.
So if you're going to build something...
You got to build it real good.
Yeah, yeah. So it was amazing that those guys were just they noped the fuck out of there. They took the money and they said, like, no, we're going to go to this incredibly fucked up area of this world,
Right.
and we're going to build their train over this spot right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't imagine trying to do that. I mean, just like... I mean, they can't... Like, in Denver, they can't even get the RTD down to Castle Rock yet.
Which is amazing.
It took 10 years for them to get to the fucking airport. So, you think that's where you start?
Historically speaking, in every city that I've built. Now,
Yeah.
as a civil engineer with over 300 hours of design experience, and having designed, and you saw it with your own eyes, the worst traffic intersection in all of human history, right? I can say with confidence that, yes, you start by laying your mass transit lines at the airport.
At the airport.
As a matter of fact, you think of that well in advance. You say, you plan for these eventualities. So later on, you don't have to sit there and say, you don't have to Russia this one out where you come in there and you say, I'm going to offer you 10% of your home's value for your house. Because if they come back the next day, it is now 0.
Right.
So you always take the 10. And you don't look at this crappy neighborhood and say, like, oh, I have to buy these out for fair market value. No, you just don't build it,
Yeah.
right? Just say, airport's going here. I
Yeah.
know this. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, Patrick, right? I understand that we have the hindsight, okay, of knowing that with the things that we've built,
Yeah.
we know that airports will exist. So when you look at these
Sure.
places that were built in like 1920, start.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand they're behind the airport. You know, the 8-ball here, where it's like airport.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Right. Yeah.
They carry one person
Right.
and not that far.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's that's the other thing, and I'm sure the Frenchies kind of noticed this too. So, like, the reason why France, Germany, in particular, have such amazing rail systems is because we basically scraped it down to the sidewalks by 1945.
Yeah.
You can do that in Skylines, and it doesn't cost you any money. You cannot do that in LA.
No, you're not. Unless, say, for example, right? Yeah, that's sort of the problem. Is you have to bulldoze everything,
Right.
including the tracks and everything else. Here.
Right,
So
right.
you get to lay in fresh. This is the same thing where, I get that thing where they're like, "Do you guys have any idea how awesome the internet is in Sweden?" It's like, yes, I do. Yeah. Why? Because you just laid it.
Yeah, you built it. So after we had had to deal with dial-up and DSL for so many years.
So we buried this shit like 20 years ago.
Right.
So in order to do this, we have to dig up all that crap
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. And I was like, well, you don't. It's no, I do fucking know.
Yeah, no,
it's the
I do
same
know.
thing. It's the same. That is that same bullshit where they talk about China, where they're like,
Yeah.
you see how advanced they are? It's like, yeah. There was just dirt there.
Yeah.
You're putting in new shit.
Yeah, just 10 years ago. Yeah. So
Yeah.
This was a pristine dirt farm. Yeah. So yeah, and like it's so many people, they just don't get that, like there are parts of BreadTube out there that constantly called for like mass transit systems and stuff like that in the United States, and it just makes me fucking laugh. I remember there's this one that was all about like America could have a high-speed rail system, and it basically just took a map of like the major freight railroads and then just colored them a different color so that we'd have like a green line and a blue line and stuff. And I was like, guys, those belong to somebody. And like, so that was the thing that was hilarious about the railroad too, was like there were a few things, like little disputes that were going on in my territory. One of them involved one of the cities there, and it didn't fucking matter. Okay, none of it mattered, because like really when it came down to it, it was like, you built the city after we built this. Okay, so so take your little overpass and put it over the tracks, because we're not going to actually cut another crossing here for you. So take your $2 million project and upscale to a $30 million project now. So because you want to get tractors from this side to that side, because the farmers don't want to drive 4 miles that way to the nearest crossing.
I feel for you.
I feel
really
for
do.
you, but I just can't help you out.
Totally understand. It's not gonna happen.
I just can't help.
What is it? It's like, I hate to beat you up, buddy, but if you
Yeah,
can't do it,
buddy,
you
yeah, I
can't do
can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah, dude, I totally understand. Like, and like, you hate to go to legal precedents, but you're like, what you have to understand here, guys, is if you check the law book, okay, when you go to chapter 1, it's going to say, I was fucking here first.
Right, yeah.
Right? I get it. And I know, like, and you're right, in certain ways, it would be simpler for you.
For you.
Right? But then there's a piece of, like, you're talking about, like, well, yeah, look at these lines that go across the country. It's like, there's trains on them already.
Yeah, I know. Those are,
I mean, they're used. It's
they're
not
used.
It's not like you go
being
here
used.
and say, like, guys, I made a discovery. I walked from the west coast to the east coast. What I found, this shit's abandoned.
Yeah,
It's
there are
all
fucking
down.
train tracks everywhere, man.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
waiting for people to use them. Yeah,
At which point I say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah,
It's stupid. Either rip them up,
right.
right,
Yeah.
or put trains on them,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, that's just that.
Oh, it's silly, man. There's so many silly things, so many silly, dumb ideas out there that, people just kind of glom onto. And it's like, actually, it's not that bad. The reason why, like, air travel in the United States is so easy, cheap, and convenient is because it's a fuckload easier to just build an airport and to put a couple more gates on it than it is to, like, I don't know, fucking land grab thousands of people, in order to get a line built between Colorado Springs and Denver.
Dude, the layers of totalitarian nightmares
Right.
you'd have to create
Yeah.
in order for that to happen. And again, you turn around and say, all right, so who benefits? Your answer is, okay, I want to go from here to here, not on a plane, but I want to be drunk while I travel.
Right.
So
Like I
what
can
you're-
in Germany. Yeah.
Right. So what you're asking is for us to dismantle the state governments that we have, give an exceptionally high amount of power to the federal government, which, hate to say it, has way too much fucking power as it is, right? And allow them to do this so that you can get drunk while you're traveling.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, I do understand. But when you turn around and say, so what's the net benefit to most people? Not a whole lot.
No.
You say like, well, how do they do it in Europe? Is it because it's Europe? Because
Right.
it's Europe.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. And I mean, like, property rights and federalism are just as strong in Europe in many ways. But again, it was basically plowed down to the sidewalks.
Well, it's not-
I mean, if you go and look at it, and so I saw this really cool like comparison. If you take a look at London, okay, and its train system, it looks like fucking spaghetti. Okay, because the town was there first, and then they had to weave all this shit in there.
Yeah.
If you look at like Hamburg or Frankfurt, it's beautiful how they actually have the trains laid out. Okay, and that's because, whoa, wow, man, hey, we're gonna clear off the rubble, so let's put the train over here. It always made sense to put it here. We just couldn't do it because the church was there. Now we don't have to worry about
Not there
that.
anymore.
No, it's not there anymore.
Right? This is a historic rubble site. We don't.
Historic rubble site.
You can build a train right through it. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And on top of that too, there's that second piece of, all right, so let's talk history for a sec. Okay, this is Europe. When I ask you to start thinking of the earliest history that you can think of, there's a chance that you start thinking of shit that happened here.
Yeah.
These cities were there.
Yeah.
Okay? So with them, they've had these agreements all this time. And then you sit there and say, like, okay, so when was the United States? No, the United States. Not the colonies, because even that's not that far back.
No,
okay?
not really.
But they weren't even a country
Yeah.
until significantly later.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where, you can actually, this is what I've talked about, is like, that's why these states over here have square borders, and all these states over here have little wiggly lines, and those are all rivers.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's like, okay, so you can tell when railways became a deal.
Yep.
Over here.
Yeah.
Over here. Yeah. And so it's just, it's a different country, guys. It's a completely different country.
Yeah.
Understand that. Right? I got into I don't want to say an argument. I tried to convince one of my Chinese students
Uh-oh.
to do a little treason.
So what kind of Chinese? Are we talking like mainlander Chinese or Hong Konger
Yes.
or okay.
Yes. Former.
Expat.
Yes.
Got it.
Here.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about educational systems and basically the what do you want to say? Go ahead and say it.
Okay,
You're
yeah,
laughing
so-
for a reason.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
this is kind of like playing Stalin in Civ 1, you know? So you know it's innocent, but you also know what he's up to, man. So
Say what you want to say. There's a
so
good chance that I say.
I don't think that you would necessarily make a very good representative of our educational system. It's a very authoritarian government.
Well, okay, so
So just saying, we do have an episode that, is titled something about education and gulags.
I didn't express that. I did. And I said, part of the problem was, like we've talked about, that grade 22 curriculum. So you have to decide, you have to choose. Everybody has to pick and choose and say, this is what I think is important.
Right.
I said, well, if I don't know what the guy before me thought was important, right? And I do a little test at the beginning of the year, I could sit there and say, y'all don't know fractions.
Right.
So we need to do fractions again, right? Let alone if I have a student that comes in from, like, where are you from, Johnny? He says, New Jersey, right? Well, what did they teach you in New Jersey, right? I don't know. So I have to, like, reteach a lot of things, plus have 22, of these things. So, like, that's where, like, my educational gulags come in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also ask, like, What do they teach you in history class?
Oh my God.
She's like, what do you mean?
I've had this discussion.
I said, I was like, I don't know if I'm comfortable having a one-party state teach any kind of like history. She's like, why?
Was it really accusatory?
Well, this is funny, Patrick. This is the nicest person in the world. She's absolutely amazing. But as soon as this came up, right, it was like, why? And I was like, well, do you feel that what they teach you in Chinese history is an accurate or balanced version of events? And immediately, this I thought was fucking funny. I was like, okay, she immediately went into, it's like, oh, so are we going to talk about how...
That racism, let's talk about slavery.
No. She didn't go there. What she did was, so we're going to talk about how Japan glosses over everything that they did to our country. I was like, no, we're not. We're not going to gloss over that. But I was like, could you just tell me what they teach you about Chairman Mao? She wouldn't answer the question.
No, of course not.
It was just kind of like, it kept bouncing over to, what about these guys? What about these guys?
So, I've had discussions. This was a while ago. This was when I was teaching at the other college. And I had education courses. And some of those courses did have Chinese nationals in them. This is, 2016, 2015 or so?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And so I remember having some of those conversations. I did not have them with the Chinese nationals a couple of years later. That I started getting in greater numbers at business school. Because it just wasn't appropriate. But yeah, there's this like extreme defensiveness. And then they'll immediately try and kick. So I got the slavery thing, right off the bat. And I was like, oh yeah, no, we fully admit that.
Right.
We fought a huge war over it. It was terrible. Okay, there's all these monuments all over the country, and then there's this there's this reason why, it still seems like it's a problem in the United States, is because quite honestly, we just don't want to forget that, kind of thing, because it was important. So
what did you learn?
Well, and that's where that one would always go, kind of thing. And the first time it happened to me, this is before we even got into any of the China stuff. It was interesting because in my first graduate program, I actually did all that work with Judy. And so on. On the Cultural Revolution.
Yeah.
So there's all these books that I have that I guarantee you none of them have read them. Okay, so
right.
All right. So these are people who fled. Okay, so there's this horrifying one called The Red Flower of China, which is just about this girl who goes through the Cultural Revolution, and she actually goes through the thing where she's actually like condemning her parents, and they die because of it. And oh man, it's just fucking horrifying. So
I haven't read that, but I feel like I've heard of it.
Oh, well, there's a couple famous ones, so that's probably one of the more famous ones that came out of that. Because
they didn't make that into a movie, did they?
I don't think so, but she did flee to Hong Kong, so she lived there until, she died before all the bad shit that happened in Hong Kong a while ago. I can't remember her name, but yeah, there's like legit accounts that you can easily find here in the West that you'll never find in China. So on that stuff. So I was curious about that because we were actually talking about education. Yeah, it immediately turned into a discussion about the evils of America enslaving the black population. So, and this was before I didn't have any idea that Chinese people hate black people. So
more than anything.
Now that somebody has pointed that out to me, it is obvious, man. So like I remember there was a time in class where I was splitting everybody up into teams and things like that. And I made that mistake once, man. And so
okay, right.
And both the guy and I, so this black guy who got put on his team with these other two Chinese dudes, okay. He had no idea what was going on, but then he just started getting pissed. So, fortunately, it was only a 40-minute thing. Okay,
Right.
and so, but
Right.
he did say, "It's like, don't put me on their team again." And I was like, "Okay, got it." I didn't understand why at the time. So, but now after having talked to some other people about it and things like that, it's kind of like, wow, that's really shitty. Okay, because to tell you the truth, it wouldn't have happened with any of my Taiwanese students.
No,
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 it wouldn't happen
no.
with any of my Korean or my Japanese students. I haven't had a Japanese student in a while though. So, but it wouldn't happen there. It was just the mainland Chinese students. So,
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that at the time. So,
Pedro, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I want you to think about this for a second, right? The population decline, right, is something that has been well known in that region of the world.
what, in China?
China, Korea, Japan, right?
Yeah, more so Japan and Korea.
Well, okay, well, all right. So,
Well, they were more honest about it.
well, they were more honest about it, but here's the weird thing, right? And China's going to hit it hard. We know that. We've talked about
We all
this,
know that, yeah.
right? They know that at this point. But
I think they know it. I don't think they think it really matters. So,
well, they're not presenting it that way, but
Yeah.
the point I'm making here is, especially in Korea and Japan, right? What's absolutely amazing is that these guys have known this for at least 20 years.
yeah,
25 years. Right?
yeah.
And what I find amazing, right, is you've looked at this and at no point are you saying, well, if we can't get our population rates up, what can we do to get in foreigners?
Oh.
And they are not, there's no version of this. Where
None
like,
of those want to do
that's,
that.
No, well, we
Yeah.
can't do that.
No, Japan is like famously. I mean, it's like you can work in Japan,
Sure.
but if you do not have at least like one full-blooded Japanese parent, you're never going to be a Japanese citizen.
Well, you won't be okay, yeah, you won't be a citizen. You will be there, like, you can become one if, like, say, you're coming to play baseball in the Japanese leagues, or if you're
I don't know. Do they actually give you citizenship, or they just
can.
give you residency? So,
I'm pretty sure they can give you like some kind of citizenship, right?
but it's not like going to be the full-blown Japanese citizen.
Well, it's
and of course, this is an Asian country, man. Of course, there's going to be like 6 layers of it, you know.
But that's what I'm saying here is like we can sit there and talk about like, oh boy, racism here, right?
right? Yeah, sure.
But then you go to things where it's like,
oh, that's
well,
real racism.
but
yeah.
you guys need these people. Like
Right.
you have been putting up like you go to the movies right now and you're gonna see like, oh, check it out. It's like, all right, before the movie starts, it's like, all right, so here, look at this. Adam Sandler's in this or whatever, right? It's so desperate over there, where over there they're kind of like, so have you guys thought about children? Look, we're gonna get to
Yeah.
Japanese Star Wars, but have you thought about having more
Star
children?
Wars. Yeah, I mean, I think Japan's probably got it kind of figured out by now. So, I mean, they went through their huge deflationary spike through the 90s and the early 2000s. Yeah, but they came out through the back end. So, Japan's much stronger right now than China is. So,
Oddly enough, yeah.
oddly enough, and they're fine. Okay, so they've got a social system kind of worked out there. I mean, like any country that can still like make you do fake work. Okay, it's still not their backs are not against the wall. Okay, so,
Yeah, no. Well, actually, no, you're right, because your performance is directly tied to how closely you're supervised.
Right.
I've made this
Yeah.
many.
so this is not an economy that's on the ropes. This is not a country that's fucked. Okay, yeah. Okay, so they kind of got it figured out now. They realize, okay, we're not going to be the big bad. All right, so in the world, stuff like that. But we can keep Japan distinctly Japanese. Okay, and we can find ways to survive in the world, given what it is that we can actually do.
Yes.
And I think they'll be just fine. I think Korea's going to be just fine too on that one.
No, they are, and to some extent,
So-
this is the other thing where it's not that sometimes they will outright hate you, but there's a version of this where they will also see you as an oddity.
Yeah.
Right. So some people may like you, but it's kind of like in the same way that, well, we don't have pandas at our zoo.
Oh, you guys have a polar bear. You know, fucking
Wow. I remember hearing stories about, again, you talk about places that are, supposed to be, progressive. I remember guys telling me, like, when they were in the army, and they got stationed in Germany.
Yeah.
And they would say, like, well, I never got maced by a white woman in America, but they sure got me twice in Germany. And again, this is the thing where if you have any students, like you were talking about, students that come here, they're not going to have that same attitude as some of the old generational.
No, of course
Right.
not. They're all younger.
They're going to be like, well, we want the black guy for our team.
Yeah.
He has
He's
different
good.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's also 9 feet tall. It's awesome.
Please tell us what it is like to be so tall.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, I don't know, I was just born this way. It's like I hit 8'6" in 6th grade.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I've had a lot of German students over the years. I've had French, I've had Portuguese, Spanish, English, Italian. They're like, they're brutally honest about certain things, and so I remember talking to you, all right, and you say, oh well, they fucking hate Turks in Germany and stuff.
Some people do.
Well, that's what they would say. I'd say so what's what's the deal with that? I said, it's fine. It's just like there's these old fuckers running around who they had this bad like shit that happened back in the 70s and whatnot.
Yeah.
He's like, first of all, there's not that many of them. So now when the immigration wave was actually happening, all right, when there were a bunch of people coming from Africa.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, so there were parts of Europe that were getting mad at other parts of Europe. But then this was right when I had a lot of students at this point in time. So particularly I had a few from Norway and Sweden who they were taking in a lot of refugees from
Syria and...
I don't know if it was Syria. I think it was somewhere in Africa.
Well, you're talking about you're talking about the first wave versus the second wave, because the Syrian one is the latest one. Actually, to be quite honest about it, it's actually one of the reasons why the elections have turned out the way that they have in Germany, Poland, and because the immigrant crisis is a big deal.
Yeah.
They've actually moved pretty far right.
Well, I was actually looking at that Italian lady. She's not that bad.
No, of course not. People are making the biggest fucking deal about this.
She's like the worst thing that happened since Mussolini, and you sit there.
You guys are fucking.
You guys are fucking crazy.
Fuck you. Yeah, it's just.
So yeah, I had a
fuck off. With
I had a few different
Jesus
podcasts where
Christ,
she popped in. I had no idea what the fuck was going on with her, but then there's a couple guys that I listened to who are pretty cool headed about things. And they actually were picking apart some of her speeches and stuff. They said, it's pretty tame, So,
no, there are certain things where if you find yourself to be the, I don't know, if you find yourself to champion yourself as the spokesman of certain groups that you felt were targeted by her speeches, there's a part where she comes out there and she's kind of going into the traditional family values thing and sort of going like,
right, yeah,
problem, right? If you find yourself as seeing any kind of that kind of talk as, well, okay, I guess the Gestapo's at my door, right? You're gonna do that.
Of course, you're on Hitler patrol. You're looking for your Hitler of the week.
You're fucking out of your mind, man.
No, man, they're not out of their mind. That's just what they fucking do. So everybody's got to find something like that to jump on every single week when all you have left to do is wave your little Ukrainian flag. So
yeah, because those guys love gays.
Right, yeah, exactly. So is there anti-Semitism in Ukraine? No. No, not even a little.
Well, there'll be people that say can't be the Zelensky's
he's a Jew.
He's a Jew.
Yeah, he's a Jew. Yeah. So that's proof. Yeah, it's just, we love all the Jews. So until the next election. Yeah.
I got into this with a Jewish student too. This is an older person though.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to get her to see if she would paint other Jews as posers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just how did I put it? Okay, yeah, okay, because the holidays recently came up, right? And I was talking about the different levels upon which people celebrate, and she works with groups that are in Israel and that sort of stuff, right? Oh, everything okay?
No, you're fine.
Okay. But yeah, and I was like, how do you, with the holidays and stuff, how do you treat the people? Like, do you have a good mix of, say, like, Orthodox, Reform, Hasidic, right? I was like, do you have a good mixing of different kinds? And how do you accommodate that if that's the case? Because this was an honest question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, by all means, teach me about this because I don't live in a country that has any kind of religion baked into the accepted or
No.
and she was like, it doesn't really come up.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's interesting. It's like, so nobody, I was like, so what do you do? I was like, if you're supposed to celebrate, like if you're supposed to, well, not celebrate, but if you do the Shabbat, it's like, that's sundown on Friday.
Yeah.
Right. Until, the next, till the next day, everything's like, off. And she was saying, like, she was talking about how this is very different from like person to person, but
Sure.
also it really only works when you have a group there to police it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when I was talking, it was like, so I joked about it. I was like, well, you gotta understand, I'm in Colorado Springs. She's like, yeah. I was like, there were like 3 Jewish families. I knew 2 of them, right? And so there wasn't a whole lot of, because she's talking about the whole community and like, if the whole community does this,
Yeah.
right? And so that's what I said, like, so do you judge them? She's like, who? Like, the less than practicing Jews. She's like, look. And I love that answer. Like, look. All right. If you're asking if there aren't guys that eat plenty of shellfish,
Yeah.
but
And press the elevator button.
but suddenly make huge deals out of the holidays.
Yeah.
If you're asking, I don't judge them. I was like, of course I do.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know if I have anything in my life that, like, we haven't done any good gatekeeping. Like,
You and
what
I?
do we have to actually gatekeep on?
Individuals? You and me?
Either on an individual or social level.
I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. I mean, I've actually been kind of an anti-gatekeeper on a lot of things. So
I feel like you have been.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like. I'm not a fan. Like, so the whole thing about Yankees versus Red Sox, man. People all the time at the bar, I'll be wearing my Yankees shit, and they'll be wearing their Red Sox stuff. And hey, be like, hey, brother, how are you, man? So I hope your team does well. And it's like brain melting, for them.
What'd you just say?
Yeah, exactly. You can see a little bit of leakage come out from
Yeah.
the corner of their eyes, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so, no, I'm very anti-gatekeeper on a lot of things. I guess if there's anything that I have been gatekeeping on, I don't know.
Like, I feel like we used to gatekeep on things like Star Wars or
Yeah, until I stopped caring about it.
yeah.
Yeah. So-
Until they told me I wasn't welcome.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's
So,
weird.
yeah, no, they showed up. I didn't bitch when they showed up for the guys who actually saw it in the theater first. So, eventually they came for me. Yeah, no.
Right.
But no, I mean, like I've seen other people gatekeep on the stupidest things,
What? That's
Football's a great one. Yeah, I see
this is-
people do that all the time. What do you mean you don't play fantasy football? It's like, or like golf. I've seen people do that one too. Your brother even plays a lot of golf now. I was like, yeah, I'm retired. So it's like, what do you mean retired? It's just like, see, were you really good, and then you did stop playing, and it's like, no, I just decided not to play it anymore. And so there's like some gatekeeping going on there too, man. Where it's like, oh, okay. I don't know. Gun ownership's another one I've seen people gatekeep on like fucking crazy. So
Following, by the way, yes, I just want to bring this up is yes. I asked you about that, and you know what? Upon doing further research, yes, Taurus is universally hated.
yeah, I think they're made in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So,
it was disgusted. There was a lot of like anti-high points.
I'm not familiar with High Point, and so
I just remember this coming up, and just
Yeah.
this at some point. That's why I asked you, but yeah, you said Taurus right away, and evidently that is a very, very popular opinion.
yeah, well, that's where that gatekeeping comes in too, because Taurus is like what they do is they re-engineer popular guns and then they make them much cheaper.
Right.
And so you can get like a Taurus version of a Beretta for about half the cost.
Right.
Okay.
I think they said they had a 1911 that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's the exact same thing. And so yeah, but I had a Taurus. It was a cool gun. I enjoyed it, but it did jam a lot. So just because it wasn't as precision machined as like, some of the other stuff that I got later and whatnot. But like guns are a great example of things that people gatekeep on. Fucking hunting is a huge one. So, and I don't get that one, man. So that one, like I've never had a problem with people hunt, and stuff
No,
like
not
that.
at all.
But also at the same point in time, I've had people who, oh, do you hunt? And I was like, no, but it's, as soon as I say, no, I don't hunt, they instantaneously assume that I'm trying to judge them for hunting. And it's like,
Oh my
no,
God.
it's fine, bro. Okay. I like elk sausage too. I just don't need to go out there and kill it myself. I'll get it over at the Whole Foods or something, it's fine. Okay. So, and then, but I've definitely had people who react that way instantaneously,
Yeah.
where it's like, what the fuck? I'm not judging you, bro. So,
Okay, the other one I get is, I used to get this a lot more, but I used to get you'd always see the follow-up conversation is do you ski?
I get that one all the time, man. I am so proud of the fact that I am a Colorado native and I fucking hate snow. So, and I will not get on skis.
Well, I mean, I've done it, right? I've done it, and I've enjoyed it, but there's this part where I'm like, well, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as you.
Right.
It's like, wait, so you live in Colorado?
I get that all the time,
and you
man.
don't. It's like, are you telling me? No. Stop. It's okay. One second. Are you telling me that in this state there is only one thing that people come here to enjoy?
Right.
One thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's like that would be like the same thing to like coming up to a Manhattan night and be like, you don't see the Statue of Liberty every weekend?
Oh, yeah.
What are you, crazy?
My dad and I went to the Statue of Liberty in 1996. It was the first time he had ever been. Right, yeah, exactly.
You know, I've seen
For the listeners, my dad was born in Manhattan.
So I can see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were actually taking the ferry out there, and Dad, when's the first time you've been here? He's like, now. It was like flabbergasted, but it's the same thing as, oh, you don't ski. It's like, no, I don't prefer. So
Again, I've enjoyed it, but I'm like, it's like, it's not something number one that I would go to do myself.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
number two, if you're gonna go, you have to get up way early in the morning. You have to drive on snow, which is just probably the biggest deterrent for me. I'm a nervous driver.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend otherwise, right?
Yeah.
At this point, when it comes to snow, I take things very seriously.
Sure.
Right? So it takes me twice as long to get there. It's like, oh, I didn't slip, right? But some people don't care. It's like,
Oh, I know.
it's fine, right?
I'm not a fan, man. I don't like
it freaks
snow.
me out.
Yeah.
And it's not the cost thing. It's like, I don't care. As a matter of fact, like I would happily go up there and do the thing where, why don't we do like a little bit of skiing? Why don't we do this for a few hours, right?
Yeah.
Chill at the place a little bit more,
Yeah.
right? And do this. But then again, I used to go with people who are like, we have to stretch every dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Like we're giving every red cent a fucking atomic wedgie because It's like, well, we have to get there the second it opens.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we want to leave at 2:30. Do not take any breaks.
Yeah.
Right.
Just ski.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen people do the same thing in fucking amusement parks and shit like that. And so it's just like, come on, man. So.
And it's the same
yourself.
goddamn people where it's like,
Yes.
you're trying to keep up with them, and it's not that you can't, but it's you can't fit into a groove because they're constantly moving in the state that is right between the line of walking and running.
Yeah.
It is that uncomfortable pace where, dude,
Slow down.
what are you doing?
Dude, I walk so slow as is. I've never been a fast walker. I've always been a little bit duck-footed. And so, like, there are some people out there who just find it's infuriating to go places with me because I will not maintain that pace. And so sometimes, like, there have been, like, even doing that in Universal, I will not fucking do that. Okay?
I'll see you there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they'd start leaving, like, then they'd stop and they'd wait. All right. And I would not speed up in order to get to them. And I'd be like, just tell me where you're going. Okay? I'll be there. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. If there's something that you do want to see, right, and it's one thing, it's like, okay, well, if we're running a little bit late, sure, I'm going to hurry up and get there, right?
Yeah.
No problem.
Right.
But if you're going to run through this place from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah, I'm not going to
and you're going to do this pace, it's like,
I'll see you at the, tell me which roller coaster we're going to. I'll see you there.
you know what, even then, it's like, tell you what, why don't we meet back here
Yes. Yeah.
at 3:30? That's fine.
Yeah. No, I've always been that way, man. But then there's like, I don't know, like, so the skiing ones definitely happened quite a bit. I'm trying to think of things that I've tried to gatekeep people on, and the couple times that I tried to do it, I gave up on it really quickly. So, it just doesn't really fit me. So. I've done it on history a few times when I'm talking to other people.
Fair enough.
So, you know, sometimes maliciously. So,
Why?
because it's about states' rights, Jeff.
I'm just asking, is it because you just don't want to hear it, or is it?
There are times where I just don't want to hear it. There are times where it's like I will entertain the most loony of fucking conspiracy theories in history from time to time, but like the Pearl Harbor and the FDR knew about it one, that one's like also a sore spot for me. It's like I have mined that one down to fucking bedrock. So, and it is like, all right, bro. So, FDR knew about it. I was like, okay, so what do you know that I don't know? Well, Churchill knew about it. So, okay, that came from this book. Okay, I read that book. All right, the guy's full of shit because this guy, and this guy proved him wrong. So this is me gatekeeping on this shit. This is how this goes. Okay. And then I was like, do you have something new that I don't know about?
You know what I know that you don't like about it? You know what I know? Is that I know what bothers you
It does.
about that. I can tell you.
What is it?
Because if they're telling you that, then that means that jackass has told like 20 other people
Right.
uncontested. And they said, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's
now
exactly
you have
what it is.
20 other people.
You do 20, it's a fucking, it's like playing laser tag. You know?
I know what bothers you. Yeah, okay. No, I can see that. Well, okay.
That one gets me.
What's getting on my nerves, again, because this is like the... okay. This is like the 10th project of this fucking FDR documentary that I've been doing here.
Oh,
right?
no.
I am so sick of sucking the girl dick of goddamn Eleanor Roosevelt. I am so tired of this because it's not that I'm trying to downplay her accomplishments, right? I'm not, okay? What I am a little bit tired of is that in order to do this, right, there are two ways to elevate somebody, right? Mm-hmm. One is to break out the accomplishments of one. The other is to downplay the accomplishments
tear down somebody else
of another, right? And there's this version of like, look, I don't
So this is you, FDR.
It's almost that, but I mean, this is the whole thing. Is there's a whole ton of this that a lot of people are willing to accept as they're willing to turn speculation as fact, where it's like, well, he must have gotten this from when she was traveling at this, and this. And it's like, guys, would you just step back 1 second? Say the guy's the fucking president.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not
universally
saying...
recognized as being the second greatest president that this country's ever had. They do that poll amongst historians every fucking year. Who's number one? The guy who freed the slaves.
I'm going to say either Lincoln or Washington.
No, Washington's consistently number 3. FDR is consistently number 2. So, I mean...
But the thing that's getting to me is the language choices when they're doing this, right? So, and again, I get this, right? I totally understand. In fact, because I'm seeing the raw stuff, I can see how they're talking about it behind the scene. They're like, well, could you rephrase that because we don't want her to come across as a white savior type? I'm like, well, are you presenting her as one or not? Right? You just don't want to say it.
Is that in the show notes?
Well, this is so when they're talking to the excerpt about what they want them to say, right? Because they're going to come in. It turns out what a lot of these guys do is they will send notes, right, to the producers, and they will put this together in an interview, right?
Okay.
So they'll say, like, don't present it like this. But the thing that gets to me is they're talking about the early part of her life before she was married. And they're going to great lengths to say, well, when she was young, Eleanor Roosevelt was very much her view on race relations was very much a product of her time.
Oh, yeah, so was Woodrow Wilson's.
Right. And this is... But what gets to me is...
So I got a great idea what movie we should show in the White House.
No, guys, it's just cinematically sound.
It's the best.
But the thing is, like, so you're telling me that if any other person was being discussed right now, you would say they were racist as fuck. Why?
Yeah.
Because
they were.
They were.
Yeah.
Right? And I get that things changed over time, but don't throw around this language to say, like, oh, no, she's just a product of her time. It's like, well, then she was a product of her time later on.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
so...
What are you doing?
Yeah, no, like...
Fuck off with this.
See, and that's the problem with history, man. It's like... Don't touch unless you know what you're doing, kind of thing. And so many fucking people, I don't know, like, how to put that in there.
No, you're so right. It is. It's like,
It's like your dad's drill, you know? So you got the little crank one, when you were a kid. So, and you pinch your fingers in it, and it was okay and stuff. But then your dad had that fucking gun, okay? That one that had the big old fat softball-sized motor on it.
Yeah.
Okay? That you were not allowed to play with. That's history for a lot of people. Don't touch that, man. So, and that's like, so, and so much of the history that I've watched over the last couple of years has been useless drivel like that. Okay? And the thing is it regurgitates itself now about every 5 to 10 years. Okay? Because there's a new generation of people out there who don't know the story behind Eleanor Roosevelt. So, and so let's slap together another YouTube series on this.
Well, no, this is for NBC.
I get it, man. I get it. So they're going to do another one in 10 years, or they're going to find another Eleanor Roosevelt that you don't know about. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I know. Look, they keep talking about, like, well, we kind of want to insinuate, but don't openly state the lesbian angle. I'm like, do you guys have proof of this?
Yeah, I know. Actually give us proof. So
it's like, well, in her letters, I'm like, okay, but that's not proof.
No,
like,
that's not proof. So, I mean, I don't know. If you really want to do the deep dive on that, it probably would only take you an hour or so to actually figure that out. So, I mean, that's the one thing about history that's so easy, too, is, like, so much of it is accessible now. You can easily find, like, like back when I was studying this shit, so to get primary sources on stuff, I had to fucking go somewhere. You know.
Well, okay. You didn't just have to go somewhere. You had to go to some place where the knowledge was so specific
Yes.
that you can't just get the big books. You have to go to places where the big books aren't going to cover it.
Right.
It's more specialized.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, well,
I'm going to the Nixon Library.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
right.
That's where his things are. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, this was I love the creative oversights on this kind of stuff where it's like, all right, well, she had a journalist living in the White House.
Okay.
Okay, Patrick.
Yeah.
When it comes to journalism.
Journalisterism.
Well, okay, and this is not to say, okay, but this is just the thing is like, so you made it clear, it's like, okay, you guys are very close friends.
Okay.
She's living with you in the White House. How potentially unbiased could anything that you read from this person possibly be?
Right. Yeah.
But this is one of those things like, well, this is brave. I'm like, no, man, this is bad journalism. This is completely unethical.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, call it out. Tell the story of the person.
No, Jeff, that doesn't fit our narrative. So understand, we write this story and then we go find our facts. So to make the story work.
Well, they know the facts.
Right.
They know the facts. They're selectively saying, like,
Yeah, I know.
They're rephrasing the facts and saying, no, this is actually a good thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
okay. And then they can just point to that fact and say, oh, no, we cited that. Yeah. Like, dude,
no, you guys are
this
celebrating.
is not
this
fucking
shit.
new. So,
No, of
yeah.
course not. Of course not. Look. All right.
So, you know, and the thing about it is it becomes like almost rote now. So in terms of how they go about writing this bullshit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
History Channel
totally
figured this
understand.
shit out 10
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago, man.
yeah.
20 years ago. It was like, oh, okay. What other Hitler / fucking Egypt / you know, Mesopotamian conspiracies can all link together?
Dude, okay. Man, look, I don't even want to... I think I've talked about this with you at this point where, like Hitler is even starting to get a bad rap. Like, we're talking about a dude
Really?
who's responsible the worst shit in history, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but do you really have to go in with like, oh, he only had one testicle? It's like,
Right,
you know, it's like,
yeah, so that makes all
I mean-
the difference, yeah. So, and that's not even proven, man. So nobody even knows
I don't
that.
know.
Nobody
Who
knows
checked?
that.
who show me the documentation that says, I've seen it.
There
It's
are
weird.
There are.
Show me the postcard that of the girl that said that's the same thing. It's like, yeah, he's really into it, and people like shit on the glass table. Like, you don't know that.
You don't know that. Yeah. So Hitlerism is another gatekeeper thing that I do all the time. So, I mean, it's to the point in time where people at the bar will even... There's one guy, he's like quasi-semi-curious in history and stuff. And he'll ask me, like, stuff that he saw on the History Channel. He's like, yeah, it's actually true. I was like, is that the one testicle thing? Yeah. I was like, no. Nobody knows.
Like, could be.
It could be, but don't listen to those guys. Here, go read this book. This is a really good book.
There's enough to say he may have been into some weird stuff.
Nobody really even
nobody
knows that, man. So, you know, the guy was like so reclusive in terms of his sexual behavior. So, and I've read 3 different books that tried to actually, you know, cover this aspect of him. And we're talking about 1,000-page books, and you get maybe 2 pages out of that because that's all there really is. So, yeah. But no, he had one ball, you know. And so watch out for guys with one ball. You know, they're going to fucking kill all the Jews.
Yeah, if I were to turn around and sit there and say, Patrick, I'm going to cite you some statistics.
Right.
Okay. If I cite for you the percentage of serial killers
Oh, yeah.
that were
kill
homosexual?
animals? Yeah. Homosexual, kill animals, and what's the other one? Grew up in a single-parent household.
Well, okay, so the McDonald triad is cruelty to animals,
Right.
wet the bed past the age
yeah,
of,
you're right.
I think it's 14,
You're right.
and started fires.
You're right.
But if I told you that an overwhelming amount of serial killers were homosexuals,
Well,
would that make a difference?
no, not really. So,
You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, yeah, I can look at the numbers, and I can sit there and say, like, well, so Hitler had one baller who was into weird things. If I'm to sit there and say, well, that's why, right?
oh, that's ridiculous.
Of course it would be
So,
ridiculous.
no, that's. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people glom onto, and that's why, yeah. Do not touch without Dad's permission, So I guess,
Telling you, man.
So it's so bad, and I think so many people do it nowadays. This is crazy. So even with all this stuff, what was it? Biden the other day said we were closest that we'd ever been to nuclear Armageddon since the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then I started seeing all this fucking shit just light up out there about, oh, best president since JFK and blah blah blah. And then what followed that immediately?
What the
Oh, well, JFK, fucking, like slept with anything that actually,
Right,
yeah,
right.
and so it just immediately went, to this entire, like, oh, okay, let's please smear the queer with JFK. No, just because he happened to show up in the news again, and so it's just like, fuck, guys, leave the fucking history alone. Just go read it, okay? That's all you need to do, and don't. That's fine too.
well, or again, this is one of those things where you have to say, yeah, well, maybe that worked for him.
Yeah.
But people that have like qualities when it comes to that kind of thing, it's not really an indicator of success.
Oh, Lord, no.
Otherwise, you would ask it on the application.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that should be on the application.
No, if you go there and say, like, well, so you want to be president, huh? It's like, yeah. It's like, all right. Do you like crush mad puss?
Gross.
Yeah, because, unfortunately, I mean, that means you have to ask Nixon the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, every weekend.
It's my fine Republican body.
All right, well, I think we're...
I think
I think we're...
we can't bust out the Nixon and
Just,
JFK.
yeah,
voices.
just
That's not
just
fair.
fucking, like,
So-
historical woes. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you and I, like, we're not... I feel like you do more preventative gatekeeping, right? It's kind of like, look, before you...
I'm the guy outside the construction site.
you're
You kids don't need to be in here. Go and get.
you're not quite like foreman or anything like that. But it's more like, look, man, if I feel like your historical gatekeeping is like the nice way of saying, like, bro, you got no underpants on, your fly is way open.
Right.
Somebody's gonna correct you on this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm being polite.
Right.
Okay? I'm saying, hey, do me just go to the bathroom right
go to the
quick,
bathroom,
okay?
yeah.
Just excuse yourself. Right?
So
Because you're trying to say, like, some dude is gonna humiliate
some
you.
dude's gonna, yeah,
Right?
yeah. Or you're gonna get mad and shoot people in there, man. That's bad too.
Pat,
So
here's one more I want to throw at you.
all right.
So, was the war over when the atomic bombs were dropped? Was Russia really going to handle all that for us?
What are you talking about?
So, the common argument now is that the dropping of the atomic bombs was strictly...
Oh, to intimidate the Russians?
No, well, it was an act of cruelty because we knew that the Russians were going to finish off the war. And it was completely unnecessary on our part.
The Russians are gonna finish off the war.
That's what they say.
The Russians were gonna fucking swim over to Japan. So tanks don't float, bro. Especially Russian ones.
One more time. So, is it true that the Russians were going to close off and eliminate the Japanese, thus making it entirely unnecessary for us to actually bomb the island of Japan?
Yeah, whoever came out with that argument, I got some suggested reading for you.
It's
Please
very
get in touch.
popular now.
Just get in touch. It's all right. We'll talk.
Any final thoughts?
No, just get in touch. Right down there in the comments, man.
If you have arguments for this,
Yep.
right?
Let
By
me
all means.
give them to me. I'm ready.
Oh no, Patrick, let them know their fly is open.
Just say what you got to say.
All right.
All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
See you in the comments.
Bye.